Welcome to an episode of Marketing for Your Boring Business, where we help your message get seen in a cluttered newsfeed. Got a little backstory for you guys. Way back in 2010, when I was just a budding grown-up, for lack of a better words, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I started spending a lot of time networking, and people kept asking me in my network, hey, what's this Facebook tweet thing? I don't know what it is, and all of my kids are doing it, and I'm just still confused about what's going on. And I started using this networking tool to connect with people to teach them how to use Facebook. And one day someone told me, you know what, Desiree, you should do this as a business. And I kind of just giggled because I had been using Facebook for like 4 or 5 years at the time from college. And after a lot of research and soul searching, I came across this awesome article from one of the social media leading websites called Mashable. And Mashable had decided that they were going to dedicate a day to social media. And so June 30th was dubbed Social Media Day internationally around the world. And it was all about bringing people together through this new form of connecting and networking and growth and online loving on each other. And I was like, you know what? Obviously, this is not going anywhere. So I went down to my local, whatever it's called, the Capitol building or legal office, and got my business registered for doing social media. And I launched my social media business on June 30th of 2010. Well, fast forward a year, I had decided that I would do this crazy thing, that I would do a huge party networking celebration in the community I was in, Phoenix. So fast forward 1 year to 2010, where I made sure to celebrate the anniversary of my business, right? I threw a big party, a big networking event on Social Media Day. And what I did is I invited 500 complete strangers to a local hotel to connect and share and grow in social media. And it was an amazing event. And one of the people that showed up at my event was our guest for today, Tyler Anderson. Tyler loved the event so much and what it stood for and what we had been doing with the event that he decided that he wanted to launch what is now the biggest social media day event probably in the world, called Social Media Day San Diego. And he's here to talk with us today about what is Social Media Day and how your business can participate in it. So Tyler Anderson is a social media marketing entrepreneur, speaker, and host of the Social Media Social Hour podcast. He is the founder and CEO of Casual Fridays, co-founder of Tact, and executive producer of Social Media Day San Diego. He has over 15 years of experience in digital marketing, social media marketing, and public relations experience, and has worked with hundreds of brands on social media and content marketing initiatives, including top hotels and resorts like Marriott International, the San Diego Tourism Authority, Penske Automotive, Jersey Mike Subs, and so much more. Tyler's also become a very good friend, especially with the help of social media over these past, we're at 8 years now, Tyler? 7?
Since 2011.
Yeah, I guess since that day. So welcome to the show, Tyler.
Well, thank you, Desiree, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And I vividly remember that day too. So I'm going to tell that story from my perspective now, since your audience heard your version. You're right. I remember Mashable having that article in 2010, but I didn't go to a local meetup that was happening in San Diego. And then in the winter of that year, or no, it was actually early. It was like March of 2011. I moved to Arizona. So my wife and I, we just had our first child. We were just found out we were pregnant with our second child. And with the rising cost of living in San Diego and my business, which was similar to yours, which was running an agency, I figured, hey, we can live anywhere in the world. Let's go to Scottsdale and try this thing out. And I have family in Arizona, so I moved to Scottsdale. And I remember seeing some of the articles on Mashable about Social Media Day coming up, and hey, find out if there's a meetup in your city. And so I saw that you were listed on their directory for the Social Media Day Phoenix event. And I figured, hey, I'm going to go network with some other people. And I showed up, and kudos to you, because I was blown away you did such a great job of getting not just, you said invite some friends. I think you did more than invite some friends. You obviously planned an event, and you're right, about 500 people showed up. But what you did a great job of is you got sponsors to have various contests and promotions. And one of the sponsors I remember vividly, or two of them actually. One, you had a photo booth. You had like one of those photo booth companies that did like fun little photo booths at the time. And then you also had Pop Chips. And I remember they had a cool interactive like beanbag zone, chair, kind of chill zone. And you had all these cool sponsors who were doing fun activities. There was great networking. It was just a good time. And that's when I was like, this is super cool. And then, of course, fast forward a few months later, that's when my wife and I decided Phoenix was not for us. So we decided to move back to San Diego. And I remember thinking like, hey, what's going on in San Diego for Social Media Day? And really, there was nothing like what you did in Phoenix. All there was a meetup where people just would go meet at some bar and have some drinks. And that's when I decided, hey, I think I can do what Desiree did.
Yes, and Tyler, I think because Tyler stepped in, everyone was like, why would I want to spend Social Media Day, which is June 30th, in 120 plus degree heat, when I could go hang out with a whole lot of mutually cool, fun social media people in San Diego on the beach, where it's, a nice 80 degrees. And I think that's one of the many selling points of Social Media Day San Diego I have always had since he launched his event. And I wish I could have gone to every Social Media Day event because they were always so unique and cool and fun. But Tyler's was always one of those ones I always wanted to go to because it married big names with nice summer weather. So it's like you're able to like match a vacation with it.
Well, we've been very fortunate. So the first year we did Social Media Day in San Diego then was 2012. So the year after your first one. And I literally took a page out of your book. So that first one, we did it at a hotel and we made it totally free to attend. And we went out and got a bunch of sponsors. And really, to be a sponsor, they didn't have to pay anything, but they just had to promote our event on social media. And they had to have some type of interactive themed contest or promotion going on. And that first year it was great because we had like sponsors like Stone Brewery, which is a great micro brew here. We had Pop Chips as well. I reached out to Pop Chips because you had him, and we had like Cars to Go. They were launching. I think we had Uber involved, and it was fun. And we had about probably 700 people show up that first year, and really all it was, similar to your event, was a networking party. So it was about 3 or 4 hours. There's some drink specials. People would mix and mingle, and that was kind of like when social media was still getting going in 2012, right? And that's when other people started making professional careers out of it. And a lot of people were friends online, but they weren't friends offline. We didn't have a ton of conferences at that point. At that point, social media marketing world had not even happened yet. So it was a good opportunity to go meet all these people who you were having relationships with through Twitter and Facebook, but go meet them in real life and in San Diego. And so that's what that first year's event was. And then, one of the people who actually showed up at that first event in San Diego was Mari Smith, because Mari lives in San Diego. So Mari attended our very first Social Media Day event just as an attendee. She just wanted to hang out and network with people. And that's when her and I were talking about maybe adding an educational component to the following year. So then the next year, we still want to have it as an event where there was a lot of networking involved. But we decided we worked a deal with the hotel to get some of their ballroom space to add 2 tracks. So we had like a beginner track and more of an advanced social track. And we were able to get some speakers, and we had some local people, like local businesses. So we had people from like Qualcomm or the San Diego Chargers at the time. Now they're LA Chargers. But then we also had Mari Smith, who agreed to come back and speak, and Amy Porterfield. And at the time, both Mari and Amy were, they were, I mean, they're still heavy hitters now, don't get me wrong, but back then they were probably 2 of the biggest ones at that. I mean, they're still big now too, but back then, now there's a lot of other speakers too, but they were just, coming to their own at that time. And we made it a free event again, and we had over 1,000 people show up that second year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. We made it free again. And so we were doing it through Eventbrite, and we had over 1,600 people, quote unquote, RSVP that they're going to come. So that presented a challenge in and of itself to try to plan and organize, because when you do make a free event and you have 1,600 people RSVP that they're going to show, not all of them are going to show because it's a free event. Even if you paid, I'm sure if you've ever done a paid event, there's a portion or a percentage of your audience who's just not going to show up. So that presented a challenge to have a free event, to have that many people attend, to try to like plan and coordinate with the hotel for logistics of like setting up a ballroom and all that stuff. So then that's why the following year, then the third year, we decided to actually start charging for our event. But in exchange, we also made it a full day's event, and it's grown from there. So right now, we're not doing over 1,000 people, but we've made a paid event now the last 5-6 years, whatever it's been, and I'd say right now with our venue, we will sell out again this year because our venue will be restricted, but we'll have about 400 attendees this year.
That's just amazing. I know that the second year with Social Media Day Phoenix, we also decided to add in the educational component. We did a day of it with an evening of like interactive networking with local businesses. We had like set up a whole expo floor and stuff like that. And our educational track was the most attended part of it because people were just wanting to consume knowledge at that point, because it was 2012 and they were still wanting to know what to do and how it worked and how to tie their other marketing in it together. So it was so invaluable for them. I think that we also did it for free. And then the next year, which is the last year that I had hosted the event before I became a military spouse and had to move, and we had sort of a rough time with it because it was so dang hot. The day that we had our social media day event, it was 126 degrees. And we had hundreds of people that were supposed to RSVP, and we ended up only having probably about 100 people show up because no one wanted to leave. Everyone was advised against leaving their house and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of had that working against us a bit. But when I had handed it off to another woman to take care of social media, she did a lot of what you had done, partner with somebody and made it a paid event, and it ended up being very successful.
Yep.
So,
well, and I think people are, they're hungry for the opportunity to learn more. I mean, this space is rapidly evolving and we're involved with it, but a lot of your attendees are, they're not doing social media 24/7 or even 7 days a week, or I should say full time every single day. A lot of them are business owners, right? And they're busy running a business and creating products and services and doing customer service and all these other things. And they're just looking for that opportunity to learn a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think all of the events everywhere, because I know that now that we have done these events, we see other people who are starting their events, some not as old as ours, but it's been nice. It's interesting to see how they have started out, what they've done with theirs. Like, Erin with Social Media Denver, who you coached through her event, and like what she has planned for this year. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be going to that event this year, and I'm really excited. And then, Carlos Gill, who's doing Social Media Day Jacksonville, and there's so many all over the country that everyone's doing it. I think, though, what my favorite part about Social Media Day is that it's celebrated internationally, but in local communities. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I had sort of built Social Media Day Phoenix around the idea of connecting with local people and businesses that you don't normally get to have access to. When you have social media managers and marketing professionals from, local sports teams and the local big brands that are there and stuff. It's so nice to be able to like connect with them in person and build a friendship beyond the internet.
Well, I think, what we try to do with Social Media Day San Diego, and I think other markets are doing this, there's great conferences out there, like Social Media Marketing World, for example, and that's in San Diego, or Traffic and Conversion, or Content Marketing World. There's Inbound, a lot of these industry things that we go to, or high level enterprise businesses will go to those, right? That they have it in their budget to send their marketing department. Well, those tickets, by the time you do airfare, hotel, and then the cost of admission, you can easily spend $2,000 to $5,000. Right.
Yeah. And
so with Social Media Day San Diego, we tried to make it an event for the community, for that small business, for people who are aspiring or just getting started in their business, other agency creatives, or people who maybe, worked at an agency and they want to learn a little bit more, but maybe their agency didn't have the budget to send them to Content Marketing World or Social Media Marketing World. And so that's why we make our tickets very affordable, but we bring in some of the top level speakers that you would go find at those other events. And, the large part, the reason we were able to do that in San Diego to start is many of them live here. So that's helpful. So that, it wasn't a huge expense or ask for them to have to come in. But even over the years, we've actually brought people in And, that's part of the reason why we do charge to cover some of those costs, such as airfare, hotel for those speakers. But additionally, they want to give back, right? They built their business, their career through social media. They want to give back on this day. They recognize that. And that's why many people choose to come and participate at our events. And so that's really what the spirit of Social Media Day San Diego became, is an opportunity to bring big level of, or big names and big level of skills and talent from a speaker perspective to a stage where really anybody should be able to afford a ticket.
So on to some questions, I guess. What do you think people can do to participate in their local social media event? And I guess even better, how can they find them?
Well, Mashable, in years past, they've created a directory. Personally, we used to have a good contact there back in the day, and they'd always want to get behind it and support our event, and they did. I feel like last year they made it like where you had to pay to have your event listed on their website. So we actually weren't even listed on Mashable's website. So, but I'm sure they'll do something again, because they were the original ones to actually, put forth, hey, everybody should have a social media day. But I think if you just go search, if you just do Google searches like social media day events, you'll probably see some. If you live in a city, like I would just search by your city name. For example, I know Phil Mershon is doing one in Wichita, Kansas. So I know Wichita is having a social media day event. So, just search, your city. And if you were pretty adamant that your city won't have one, go ahead and search other bigger cities by you that are maybe within a driving distance. As you mentioned yourself, you're going to Denver. You're going to be living near Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, I have a weird reason for it. I'm doing a road trip because I have to go get some last minute stuff from our former duty station. So yeah, I'm able to go through Denver on my way back to Vegas to go.
So, but I know like for our event in years past, we get a lot of people from Orange County, LA. We get them from inland, Bakersfield, all that stuff, because we're not too far. We're a 3 or 4 hour drive from there. And hey, for some of them, they can actually go and get out, and enjoy San Diego for a couple of days. So, definitely you can travel to one at least nearby. And then it's not out of the norm too to have people fly in for your event, because again, going back to those same things, sometimes these conferences, or at least with our event, the caliber of the speakers are so good. They're almost to the equivalent of what you would see at some of these larger events, where though those tickets might cost you $500 to $1,500 for a ticket, our ticket's under $200. So they can get a hotel, airfare, and the cost of admission, do a one-day thing where they're bettering themselves and training themselves more, learning more about social media marketing at a fraction of the cost. By no means am I saying I'm comparing with those events. I think those events are spectacular, and I highly recommend you go to them. But if you're on a fixed budget, going to a local or even a regional social media day event is not a bad alternative.
Yeah, and I like how you had talked about, the local, the regional, the cost. It's a lot of things people to figure out, especially for you boring business listeners who are not looking for that big conference thing where you probably have to have an established knowledge of certain things. You're able to sort of dabble and get to know more about the social media space and the heavy hitters. And then my favorite part of Social Media Day anywhere, every year, is connecting with local people, local businesses, and talking with them about like what they're doing with social and connecting with them on social and building those relationships further online. That's always been my favorite part of Social Media Day. I don't know about you, but
well, that's just my favorite part of any conference or event. I just love networking. So yeah, but Social Media Day is taking that to a local level for sure.
Yeah. So what can people, do you think, expect from a Social Media Day event?
I think, it just depends on which one you go to. I'm sure there still are some in communities that are networking events, which is totally fine. But, definitely, I know like Denver, us, what they're doing in Jacksonville, what they're probably going to do in Wichita. Phoenix still has an event. I believe the Social Media Club is backing that one. For the most part, all of them are bringing in speakers, and they're pretty darn good speakers, right? These are the same caliber of speakers you will see speaking at other marketing conferences and events. So you can get to go see some great people speak on some great topics that are relevant. And I would go with an open mindset to learn, and I would go there with an open mindset to network and meet other people.
And what if you wanted to plan your own event? What if you didn't have one in your local area and it was just too hard to do one there? Like I know Vegas doesn't really have one.
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and plan an event, which I think is great, and I think somebody could or should do that if there's nothing in your market or your region, you don't have to start big. Like, don't think you have to go compete with San Diego or Denver or any of these other ones. Like, let's just say you live in Vegas and you want to have one and you want to go somewhere. I would do some digging and research, see if somebody's planned something. And if they haven't, okay, for your first year, I would first go and see if you can lock down a couple speakers. Now, it helps if you can get a bigger name speaker. So I, again, would maybe look, are there big name people who are publicly speaking at other events who maybe live in near around that area who might want to give back to the community? That's how I was able to step in and start, because I was able to get people like Mari and Amy who lived in San Diego and agree to be part of the event. But, you don't necessarily, and if you can't get a big name that way, well, there's other ways you can get big names. And part of my early speakers were people from businesses. So that's when I reached out to the Chargers, and I actually got the director of social media for the San Diego Chargers to be a part of my event. Or that's how I reached out to Qualcomm and I got them to be involved. And they don't even necessarily have to be a big, huge, businesses like that. You might have like a local business that has a very prominent reputation that's not huge. And I'll give another example. I had this local business in San Diego, and actually they're in Las Vegas now, so you will now know them too, Desiree. They're called the Donut Bar, and they opened one location, and they're like the most crazy awesome donuts. They're super big and custom. They're like $5 a pop. They're pricey, but they literally had a line out the door to this day. They still have a line out the door when they first open up at 6 a.m, and they're usually sold out of all their donuts by 9 a.m. every day. And they do like custom donuts and all that.
I gotta interrupt you. That was the one place when I came back for social media marketing world, the one place I wanted to go to when I came back from Korea, and I did it. It was exactly what you said. It's awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, so good. But anyway, so the owner of that shop, his name is Santiago Campa, and he's actually become a friend now. But he would promote, like, every morning he would go on Facebook, right? And he would or Twitter actually at the time, because Twitter was even bigger. And he would showcase what the donuts were, because they make new donuts every day, like different styles or types. Like, it's not just like, okay, chocolate donuts. Like, he'll do like Superman themed donuts, or he'll copy like what you would see from The Simpsons or whatever, or he'll do special sports ones. Like he'll make like logos, like Super Bowl logos if it's like the Super Bowl week. But he does like custom donuts. But then the only way you would know what the donuts were going to be is he would showcase that through social media. He would highlight it. He'd go live, stuff like that. And so, yeah, we had him come and talk about how he used social media to help grow, the popularity of the donut bar. And a lot of people were interested in that. So you don't always have to go get a A-level caliber speaker who's, giving closing keynotes at Inbound. You can go find great speakers even locally from the businesses. But I'd go try to get a few of those people. I try to develop a lineup. Again, you don't need to go big. You don't need to go have 20 speakers and have like 2 days of an event. You don't need to even go get 6 speakers to have one day, a full day of an event. You can make your first social media day event. You can make it a 1 or 2 hour workshop featuring just one speaker. That's a great place to start. I actually think that's how social media in Wichita started. I feel like Phil Mershon was just able to get 1 or 2 speakers, and he just made it like a 1 or 2 hour luncheon, right? So you get your speaker, and then you got to get a venue. And again, sometimes these venues, if you're going to charge for it, you got to obviously cover enough of your costs to pay for the F&B. To make it worth the while to people, but it's really not hard. You get a speaker. I mean, it takes some work, but you get a venue that's going to host it. Some of those venues might have AV, like screens and microphones already. Others may not. They may have to charge you rent for that. That's fine, but that's where you just got to figure out your finances of putting on the event and what it's going to cost, and make sure you charge enough to cover your costs. And if you want to be profitable, make some money too.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's important to make sure that you do is nab that those social names, like facebook.com/SMDay SD, SMDay PHX, SMDay Den, so that people are able to find you. Because I think then after you establish your speakers and you've established a venue, the next thing obviously is promotion. And the easiest way to do that is by having like a social media day, your city Facebook page and a Twitter and probably even an Instagram account. And I would also encourage you to go buy that .com as well, so that you have all of that together in one place, so that when other people are searching for their local social media day event, you'll be the place that'll show up, and then people can connect with you, find out about your event, and hopefully participate and help grow it as well.
100%. Definitely all the same rules apply when you're going to market anything. So, but as far as the logistics of planning the event, once you get some speakers in the venue, yeah, now you're into full blown promotion mode. By far, the best thing that's been for us that we've done over the years, when it was a free event, we got away with a little bit more because we didn't have a budget, so we didn't run ads when it was a free event. That's why we required our sponsors to promote the event. So now we're actually tapping into Stone Brewery's Instagram handle or their Twitter handle, and they're promoting, hey, we're going to be at Social Media Day San Diego, and they tag us, to your point, and then other people would see that like, well, what's that? Oh, I want to go to that. So we relied a lot of that organic promotion at first. But then once we started charging for our event, then we were actually able to start leveraging Facebook ads, and Facebook ads were great. There's all the same. I mean, we could go into Facebook ads. That's a whole separate podcast episode, but
right.
All those amazing tactics that are available on Facebook ads, that's the number one driver of how we sell tickets to this day for Social Media Day San Diego.
Yeah. And I think that the other little secret sauce that I had for Social Media Day Phoenix was I applied for the paperwork before the event even happened, while I was still in planning mode and promotion mode. I applied with the state of Arizona to get June 30th declared the official social media day for the state. And we got it. We got it the week before the event. I was so stoked. And by having that on that government level, you're able to do another level of press releases. I was able to do a lot of local TV. And then it helps when you have that, because when it's an official day in the state or the city, usually your local government will talk about it. So every year, at the time it was Governor Jan Brewer, she would post about it and talk about it as it was coming up, or the day it would happen. She'd be like, today we're celebrating Social Media Day in Arizona. And it was just a really great way to get... It's really fun to have, but it's a really great way to get that extra level of PR, because it's this almost makes it that much more official. Your city and in my case, the state really supported it.
100%. I'm glad you brought that up too. I mean, we did that our first year when it was a free event. We actually got the mayor's proclamation. So if you're going to plan this, that's my recommendation, is just do a Google search. Say you live in Austin, Texas, how do you get a mayor proclamation for a day in Austin? And there'll be some article or probably government website that's going to tell you what you got to do. I will say this: allow yourself some time. Don't think that you're gonna be able to do this a week before. Probably won't happen. I think when we did it, we started about 6 weeks out, and I was still kind of sweating if it was even gonna work.
Yeah.
I would say you want probably 2-3 months notice ideally if you're gonna do that, but definitely getting that official proclamation, that makes it now current and relevant and appealing to the news media outlets, which can also help drive that exposure. And then you're right, and you'll get, because now you have that. And if you just start sending that out and letting people know, hey, mayor just officially proclaimed this, you might get a news director who wants to have you come on their local morning show and talk about it. And then we were able to do that, the first year. And then after that, I kind of joke about it, but to this day, everybody still's like, oh, tomorrow, June 30th is officially Social Media Day in San Diego, although it's technically not officially anymore because that proclamation only works for 1 year.
Oh wow, yeah, ours was for forever, and ours. What's interesting about Phoenix is Phoenix, they don't declare days. You can only do it on the state level. That's why I had done it. And I agree. Give yourself time. I had applied for mine in May, and I was like you. I was sweating it, and I was like, oh, maybe that'll happen. And then it just showed up in my mailbox. I didn't. It was really interesting. Yep. So, all right. Any final thoughts or closing tidbits of information for anyone who's interested in Social Media Day? What it is, what they need to know, anything like that?
I think, just if you go search the various cities who are doing it, you'll learn a lot just by looking at what they're doing. And if you want to start your own, certainly just try to emulate what they're doing. It's not that hard. So, of course, you can learn from what we're doing at Social Media Day San Diego, and you can find that at socialmediadaysandiego.com, or you can just go to smdaysd.com. Either one, pick your poison. And we officially will be, I don't know when this episode's going to air, but we will be officially rolling out our lineup here later this month in April. But early bird tickets are available if you want to come to San Diego and party with us. I can just tell you, you can go, we still have last year's lineup on the website. We bring a world-class lineup every single year, and this year's going to be no different. We're going to have a great lineup. Some of the biggest names will be there again. And what I also pride myself in too, Desiree, is I also find what I like to call up-and-comers. So there'll be some people who'll be on our stage for the first time. But I will tell you this, it will not be the last time that they're on a stage. You will definitely hear about them at other events.
Yeah, Tyler has the nose, the speaker nose. He knows when people are gonna just blow up.
We've been pretty fortunate. There's a lot of people who spoke on our stage that eventually then have been on, social media marketing world stage or other stages. And probably I can say, one of my favorite ones is Zach King. A lot of people, and Zach's not even technically out there much as a thought leader. He's just an entertainer, a content creator. Go check him out on Instagram, anybody, and you'll be thoroughly amused by his videos. But Zach, I had speak at my event in 2014, and I think he's 10 million, or maybe more than that, maybe 20 million Instagram followers now. It's crazy. And when he spoke at my event, I don't even think he was at 1 million.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So, all right, guys, if you are looking to learn more about social media, specifically in your community, especially because most of you guys are local businesses catering to your local community, this is an awesome way to figure it out. Find your local social media day event. It's going to be June 30th. I think for 2018, June 30th is actually on a Saturday. So a lot of people are switching their events to the 29th, which is a Friday. So maybe you can make it if you decide to go to someplace like Social Media Day San Diego, if your local event is not good, you can make a vacation out of it. Add that weekend trip in there. But guys, I appreciate you listening, and I hope that you get as excited about this as I do. Thank you so much, Tyler, for being on the show. It's always awesome talking to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on the show and having the opportunity to speak to your guests. And just you reminded me of something, and you are correct. We officially, this will be the first time ever we are moving our event to the 29th. We're not doing it on June 30th, even though the first time I did do it, which was in 2012, we actually did have it on a Saturday, and it still was great. We had 700 people show up. The difference is that was a cocktail party at 7 o'clock. Totally. A lot different to go from that and then to expect people to give up their entire Saturday to go learn all day. So that's why we chose to move it to the 29th.
Yes. So June 29th in a lot of communities this year, but June 30th, Social Media Day. Find yours, be there, and just learn and love it. I promise you'll get so much out of it. And like we always say in military life, guys, it's never goodbye. It is see you soon. So until next time, I'll see you soon.